bases, JJ Putz. How's it going?
It's going, my man. It's going. Good to be here. Thanks for
Oh,
having me.
hey, thank you for replying to my DM. And now we're
Always.
here.
Always.
So, so what are you up to now? So what do you do?
Well, I feel like I'm a school bus driver. I feel like I am a baseball coach, um, a house cleaner, um, dog poop scooper, a little bit of everything. I got 4 kids. I got twin daughters that are freshmen in high school.
Nice.
I got a
Oh,
12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl.
yeah. So
So
you are busy.
we're busy. They're all playing club sports right now. So I wish I could figure out Michael Keaton and multiplicity and figure out a way to clone my wife and myself so we could maybe get some downtime and let the clones go and do everything. But
I think you should send a message out to Elon Musk and say, "Hey, I got an idea."
let's do it. I'm all in. I'm all in.
So tell me about okay. So back in the day, and say because we were talking earlier that in like 2007, say because you were playing for the Mariners, and my whole story with I caught a foul ball from you off Mark Teixeira and a ball thrown from you,
Yep.
and that was your first start or well your first game pitching in June of 2007,
Okay.
which was the month you were pitcher of the month.
Yep. It's amazing how things just kind of work out, right?
It's do you so before that I guess let's go back I guess like to when you're growing up. Were you always wanting to be a professional baseball player?
You know what? I've been asked that a lot of times, and I honestly think the answer is no.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where I can't remember what I did yesterday, but
Oh, same.
I just remember growing up. I grew up in a small town in Michigan, Trenton, Michigan, and in the winter, played basketball. In the fall, we played football. In the summer, spring, we played baseball. So I think I always really wanted to do whatever season it was. Like
Yeah.
if it was basketball season, I wanted to be a basketball player. Football season, be a football player. I would say it probably wasn't until the summer of my sophomore season was when I was like, you know what, this baseball thing's pretty cool. I started pitching that summer, and I was a catcher growing up, so I've never really pitched. And we were trying to save some arms in the tournament. I got on the mound, had a good outing, and they're like, "You're going to pitch the rest of the summer." And that's pretty much how I started pitching. But I think it was probably like that summer, being with that group of guys I was with. I went to college with 3 of them, and that was, I think, when the light bulb kind of went off. I'm like, you know what, you might have something here, at least to get, go play in college ball and get some education paid for. So I guess back to your answer, I don't think I was like as a little leaguer thinking like, you know what, I'm going to be a big leaguer. I just think I just enjoy playing, and I wish, I'm coaching a 12U baseball team now, and it's club sports is like a whole nother level of insanity right now, all across the country. And I think that the sooner that, parents and players, probably more so the parents, can realize like the odds of your kid, like getting to the big leagues, let alone going to play in college, or even like even more short-sighted, just playing high school baseball. I mean, there's a lot of kids playing baseball right now that won't make a high school team.
Yep.
And if they would just allow these kids to just be kids, and I don't love the way that club baseball is right now with, you play 2 games on a Saturday and you could play up to like 3 games on a Sunday, like through the bracket play. And it's like the best players in baseball, very rarely do they play a doubleheader, let alone like underdeveloped 12-year-olds trying to ask these kids to go out and play 2-3 games a day. It's just wrong. And I wish I had a solution to it. I don't know what the solution is. I just think they're down that rabbit hole so far that there's really no coming back for a while.
It's I mean, I for sure I agree with you on that one. It's I think that a lot of the clubs, or I guess like the hitting clubs, it's a lot that they can see where they can make money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's definitely some benefits of the club baseball.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good instructions and stuff, but everything in this world is money driven right now. So there's, and I don't fault the people that are doing it, because that's how they make a living, and I get it. I just wish that there was an overall I guess, brain trust maybe
Yeah.
that would oversee all of this and say, listen, still do these tournaments, but let's be a little bit smarter about how we handle these things. And like, they have pitch limits on these kids, but it's innings. It has nothing to do with how many pitches they throw. So like if you get 7 innings in a weekend, you could throw 3 innings on Saturday, throw 70 pitches, and come back on Sunday and throw 4 innings and throw another 70 pitches. That's just not right. I mean, like big leaguers, relievers, when they go back to back, like usually they have the next day off if they've thrown like 20 to 25 pitches. And again, we're talking about underdeveloped, and I think that's where you're starting to see a lot of injuries in these arms of these young kids. And again, I wish I had the solution, but that's just kind of the way it is right now with this thing. So
yeah, I think it's like my first year playing tournament ball was when I was 12 as well. So it was I mean, because there's a lot of parents of the kids on the team who would take it totally serious.
Yeah.
And then because they would be the dad or mom on the fence.
Right.
And they're just yelling at the umpires at calls for a 12-year-old game.
Yeah. And not to mention that kid's probably 19 years old. Truth be told, I've been thrown out of 3 little 12-year-old games as a coach. So, but I get it. I'm not proud of it.
Hey.
2 of them I didn't really deserve anything. I wasn't even the one of our coaches that said anything. But the third one, I was like, all right, I'm going to get run here and I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to let this guy know how bad he is. But,
How many times have you been thrown out in your whole playing career?
None.
Hey, well, I mean, you've been thrown out of little kid games.
It'd be better if it's a better story, right? If I said, you know what, I've been thrown out half a dozen big league games, but no big league games, but 3 12U games.
That is
that's where I'm at. So that shows you the level of insanity of club baseball right now.
Oh, it's huge right now.
I think we should have a cheers break for that. A little cheers.
Yep.
Cheers.
About your 3. Yeah.
Every time we talk about something we're not proud of, we have to drink.
Hey, I would be drinking a lot.
I think we all would, my man. We all.
No, I think let's see. I've been thrown out a few games during high school. It was I was in center field for one of them, and I think our pitcher was throwing good stuff right down the middle, and then he was calling strikes, and I yelled at the guy from center field, and then he was like, "You're gone," and I'm just I'm not moving. I'm gonna stay here.
That's fun.
It's youth baseball is a whole different ballgame now.
It is. Youth sports in general. I have twins that are freshmen, right? So one plays club volleyball, the other one plays club softball, and those softball games are I'll tell you the best. If anybody's listening and they want to be an umpire or a referee, I'm going to tell you right now the sport you want to do it in: volleyball.
Yes.
The parents are not allowed to say one word to you, no matter how bad you are.
Yep.
And if they do, you can take points away from your team. So literally, you just sit there and you just burn up inside at some of these calls, and you can't say anything because you don't want to cost your kid's team, points. So that's where it's at. And
if it's 25-24, and then you're like, nope. And
then, no ball game, they win. It's you got to walk out. Try walking out of that gym with that, right? That's terrible.
Dude, I have umpired one baseball game. I wasn't supposed to, but they needed an umpire, and I'm lucky. I only had to ring up one person, but I was practicing for hours before.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that parents knew that I was not an umpire and they were just having fun. And
yeah, I just for me, it's it's not an easy job. Let's be honest. They make mistakes. I get it, but some of these guys out there, it's dude. At least have a give a shit level. Yours is 0. At least try. These kids work hard. They deserve better. And that's the one I got run on when I finally told that guy. I'm it was both teams, right? Their coach was getting close, and I finally said, I'll take care of this. I'll get run right here. And I just told the guy, I'm listen, these 24 kids out here, they work their ass off, practicing and then to come out here and have something you dictate how this game is going. And the guy was scared of the ball behind the plate. So balls are coming. If a guy swings, he's flinching. And I think I ended the conversation with listen, I know I got to go, but I'm going to walk off this field a man not scared of a 12-year-old throwing a baseball. And he popped off something else. And then, of course, the umpire in chief comes rolling on his Segway and he's like, what happened? I'm like, well, your fat ass on this Segway is not making things any better. Again, well, drink because I'm not proud of it. But it was one of those ones that just had to be done. Sometimes it just has to be done.
It is worth it for the team's sake.
Yeah. So
I take one for the team.
Yeah, like my hitting coach, Paul Canerico, we have boys the same age, so we're the two coaches of this team, right? So this guy, he pops off a lot. And the other 2 times I got thrown out, and it was him that was chirping. And I'm like, I didn't even say anything. It was Paul. And he's like, you're out of here. And Paul's just looking back at me smirking. He's like, got you again, skipper.
So funny story about Paul Canerico. Okay, so I'm from Yakima, Washington.
Okay.
So back in the day, so the Yakima Bears.
Yeah.
He was one of the greats that came through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like a big, huge picture of him on the walls and everything, and it's
he's a peach. Crazy. He's a one of a kind.
So was there any umpires that you just did not want behind the plate, when you were playing?
They were all you get actually scouting reports on the umpires.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, as far as as far as they favor one side of the plate or the other.
Yeah.
This guy, the one guy I just never liked behind the plate, and had nothing to do with his zone, because he was a very good umpire and he had a very consistent zone. It was just Tim McClellan, because he was so especially in a hostile atmosphere.
Yeah.
He was quiet with his strike call and his delay to put the arm up.
Oh, that's annoying.
But the catcher knows it's a strike because he can hear him. Well, you throw a pitch and I'm like, where the hell is that? And then he raises his arm up and I'm like, okay, it's strike. That was my only thing I didn't like. And again, when I say this, he was a very good umpire. His zone was probably one of the most consistent. Probably a little bit more hitter friendly, but if you know it's consistent, you can deal with it.
Yeah.
I just, again, didn't like. It's like if you just say and move his arm and then go up, just so you know something it's a strike. So there's times where I'm like, Jesus, where is that? And then all of a sudden the arm comes up. And there was actually a good one when I was in Seattle. Kenji Jojima was our catcher. Yeah. And it was really loud. I believe it was in Cleveland. And it was a strike 3 to end the game. Kenji, catches it, stands up to come out to get me, and then squats back down because he didn't hear him call it. And then he hears a ha, and then stands back up and runs out to the mound. It was great. It was great.
That would, okay, I'd say especially as a closer, that would be annoying.
It was just tough. But, I'm telling you, you go back and look, I'm sure you could find out some stats on his strikes and missed strikes. He was as good as it was back behind the plate. He was just, that delayed call just got me. But I'll tell you, the best call ever it has to be Jim Joyce behind the plate with that. He was the best. And then, I think another good one was, God, how come I can't remember this guy's name? His brother pitched for a long time, left-handed pitcher.
There's a lot of them.
Man, I am totally blanking on this, and he is one of the best umpires out there. God, his brother played for the Brewers for a while. Left-handed starter. Oh my God, Jim Wolf, Randy Wolf's brother.
Okay, yep.
Jim Wolf was great because anytime he threw a ball back to you, knuckleball, and he had a good one. He had a really good knuckleball.
I would say that if I could go back, I would only throw that. That would be my only way that I would ever get looked at.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Knuckleballs are tough.
So there was so I was reading today. So one of your outings, there was a certain player that said, "Man, that closer. He throws 98 miles an hour, then he drops that split on you. See you later."
Yeah, I know who it is.
So were you shitting your pants for a full count against Barry Bonds?
You know what? We had talked about walking him. I know that Hargrove wanted to walk him, and I mean, this is what you live for.
Yeah,
he's one of the greatest of all time. I don't care what anybody says. May have did this, may have did that. What he was able to do with the limited amount of pitches he was getting to hit.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit what you're on. I don't care what you're on. You still have to put the barrel of the ball. And so I wanted it. I wanted him. I wanted him. Mm-hmm. And, I wanted to if you go back and look at that video, I probably shook Kenji off 3 times. I would not want to throw a 3-2 split. I wanted to give him a heater. And I wanted to challenge him. And ultimately, obviously, it was the right pitch, but to throw a splitter there. But I'll tell you, when he first got in the box, you know, we had seen a couple at bats throughout that series before I got a chance to go in there. I don't think anybody realizes, one, how big he actually is, and how close he is to the plate, and how little a bat was in that man's hand.
Yes, because I was gonna ask. I mean, like, how did it look like with like a small bat and then a big dude?
Big dude, and he's got body armor, and that elbow's like over the like inner half. It's not on the corner; it's on the inner half of the plate. And he's just challenging. He's like, try to throw something by me. And I mean, you think about the year he broke the record. Like, he was not getting anything to hit.
No.
And when he got that pitch, he didn't miss it.
No,
again, I don't care what he was on. He is the greatest home run hitter that we have ever seen.
And I will say that, I mean, I 100% agree. I think he's, I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
100% he should be.
I can 100% say that I think steroids helped the game of baseball in that era.
I mean, listen, after the strike, and again, there's no proof of any of these guys taking it because there wasn't any testing.
Correct.
But the summer of Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa saved the game of baseball.
Yes.
I will take that to my grave. I will argue with anybody that wants to discuss it. They saved the game of baseball. What that did to the country as baseball fans, it saved the game. And the fact that these guys are, you know, being shunned out of the Hall of Fame. McGwire's a Hall of Famer. Sosa's a Hall of Famer. Those are some of the greatest baseball players to ever walk the face of this earth, of the earth. And the fact that they're not in the fact that Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame. So right now in the Hall of Fame, you have the all-time home run leader and the all-time hits leader not in it. There's something wrong with that.
It's absolutely stupid. I mean, like when it was like because Kurt Schilling like said no, that he doesn't want to be in it anymore because it's bullshit.
It is.
I completely agree with him on that one.
Yeah, I do too. To answer your question, Barry Bonds is a big MFer, man. It's intimidating when he's at the plate.
I mean, I can 100% say that I can't get a ball past him.
And not to mention, like earlier in that game, he took Felix Hernandez deep.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, Felix was pretty freaking good.
Yep.
So when you see the stuff Felix is rolling out there, and you're coming trotting out there, and you know you get to him.
Yep.
And the game's on the line. I think it was like a 2-1 game or 3-2 game, something like that. I remember Randy Wynn and Omar Vizquel got out.
Yep.
And it's kind of set the stage for Barry. And I actually saw Barry in the tunnel after the game. And you hear all these horror stories about Barry Bonds, right?
Yeah.
I saw him. He said, "What's up?" I said, "What's up?" I said, "Hey, man, I would love for you to sign a baseball for me." I sent one over. He goes, "I'll tell you what, I'll send one over." Next day, it was in my locker.
Oh, no way.
To JJ, God bless Barry Bonds. Still, it's in my ball case.
That is awesome.
And he guy's freaking good, man.
I mean, I think like players that play now, there's only a few that can maybe get close to White.
I don't know, man. You got to remember, not only is it
I guess
putting up the numbers, but the longevity, like the length of time that these guys played. Like I don't know. I'm not sure we're ever going to see another 300 game winner either.
Oh no,
I don't think so. 3,000 hits are going to be tough to see again.
There's no way that there will be another 300 game winner.
Yeah, I don't see it
because there's all of the restrictions. There's all of the number stats and data,
analytics, all that.
And it's
baseball's
changing.
I'm with you. It's changing. It goes in cycles.
And that part, I do not like that.
Yeah.
But it's so let's see. Who, besides Barry Bonds, who would have been the absolute toughest out that you faced?
Me personally, it would be Gary Matthews Jr. Look it up. Like if there's a definition of ownage, it's Gary Matthews Jr. against me.
I will look it up right now.
I want to say, I'm just going to go off the top of my head here. I think he hit,
Gary Matthews.
I want to say something like 8 for 11 or something like that, with like 4 homers, 3 doubles.
Oh shit!
Like that. It's nasty.
If this loads, I'll tell you.
And the thing about it is, the thing about like numbers and like guys owning guys, and hitters know who they own.
Yeah.
Pitchers know who they own, and vice versa. The hitters know if you own them, and I know if I own a guy. Like if that guy's on deck and I know I've got great numbers against him, I don't care who's on deck. I want that guy on deck. I want the next guy because I know I'm going to get him out. Gary Matthews Jr. was never a guy I wanted to be on deck. That guy absolutely owned me.
So your mindset going to be a closer is, I mean, you got to be absolute. You have a job and you got to kill that.
And when another guy that hit me really, really well was Orlando Cabrera. But Gary Matthews Jr., man, like there was a time, I want to say like I had not thrown a curveball. I'm going to say in like 4 years. I threw that. I'm going to call him an SLB, but he's a great guy. I don't really mean that in the true sense of it. I threw him an 0-0 curveball and he took me deep. And I'm like, that's not even in the scouting report anymore. That's bullshit. That's when you just know a guy sees you really well. And so I'm going to say like maybe like the year or two after I retired, one of my good buddies, Joe Saunders, he lives right across the street from me out here, played with the Angels for a long time. Mm-hmm. Our wives, we went to Capri, Italy for a trip. We're walking, and Capri's a tiny little island. We're walking through the streets of Capri at night, and who do I see walking up towards us?
Gary Matthews.
Gary Matthews Jr. And Joe had played with him, and I said, man, I came all the way out to Italy to get away from nightmares, and here you are.
They found it.
Street, walking right at me.
Can't get away from the guy. 7, let's see, 8 for 13.
Okay. How many bombs?
3 homers and 2 doubles.
Yeah. That's ownage, dude. I'm telling you, there's nothing.
Dude.
You know what you do? You just say, hey, Gary, good job, buddy.
Nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It sucks knowing it too, man. Because you're like, oh, God. You go like 3-0, right? With 2 outs, 3-0 count on the guy. And you're like, you look on deck and you're like, shit, Gary's on deck. I got to get this guy out somehow because I know this is not going to go well. It's not a good feeling.
What was it? I guess like, so what was it like going from, or I guess like playing like a small town like from Michigan to be coming to like a big stage?
Yeah, so it was like a progression because I went to the University of Michigan for 4 years, played there, played in some big moments there. And then you just kind of get into the minor leagues, and it's, minor leagues are not what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's a grind, bus trips, great dudes, great stories, great times, but it's a grind. And I think, again, let's go back to this club ball thing. Like everybody thinks like, oh, their kid's going to be a big leaguer. Well, I'm going to tell you this, like, yeah, you get drafted, you go sign, and you just think like, oh, it's this like glamorous lifestyle. Oh. It's not. Like you're grinding it out. I remember guys on buses in the Midwest League blowing up like pool rafts to lay on in the middle of the bus, right? Because if we get like 3 or 4 guys down the middle, then everybody else could have 2 rows and you could like stretch out and like sleep on the bus. It's not a glamorous lifestyle, but some of the best times and some of my better friends were guys I played minor league baseball with. It's a ton of fun. And then obviously, you as you kind of move up the ladder, the stadiums get a little bit bigger, the crowds get a little bit bigger. But none of those stadiums or crowds prepare you from the moment you make your debut. And I can't imagine what it's like to walk up to the plate, but the run from the bullpen, nothing will prepare you from that. They don't prepare you. There's nothing they can do to prepare you for that.
Adrenaline coming.
Man, I remember that long run from Safeco into the mound. I think my first 2 fastballs I threw Danny Wilson in warm-ups were about 56 feet, straight scuds.
Oh, hey.
I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? And I remember, I think the first hitter I want to say it was Bobby Kilty. I get 2-0. Danny calls a 2-0 changeup. I didn't have a changeup. I was a fastball, curveball, slider guy. I didn't really throw a changeup. But I'm like, I'm not shaking Dan Wilson off here. So I grip what a changeup was. I threw it. He pops it up. I'm like, this isn't so bad. Yeah, it's not so bad. I'm just going to follow whatever Danny tells me to do. So
it's like my favorite people like I like to talk to like on the podcast is like, I guess like it's guys like who are like in the minors right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean like they are all like in that grind right now.
Yeah.
And it's
a grind. That's the best word you can describe the minor.
I think that word can probably be the most relatable if you play baseball.
Mm-hmm. It's a grind, no matter what age. Like, again, going back to the 12U kids.
Yeah.
Getting through 4 games at least in a weekend is a grind.
That's a grind. I mean, those are long days.
Long days. Long days.
And then, I mean, because I'm only 26 years old. And then, like, when I have kids and then I go through that, I'm just going to be like, this is – I just want to go home.
Dude, there's days where I just want to go home sometimes from some of these games. You just, because you want the best for all these kids. And
yeah.
And as a dad now and a coach, I always tell my son, like, listen, man, Paulie and I, we can tell you everything. We can give you as much information, as much knowledge as we have in this game. There's only one person that can do it. Like, we can't do it anymore.
Yep.
It's on you. Like, you have to take what Paul's telling you at the plate or, in the cage sessions and, like, take it to your at-bats and try to apply it. And, it's okay to fail. Like, this is the one thing I always try to tell these parents is, like, the greatest hitters that have ever played this game at the highest level fail at a clip of 70%.
And I think that is one of the big things of why I am the way I am today is because of playing so much baseball and then like understanding it.
Yeah.
It's okay to fail.
Listen, it's not okay. It is.
Yeah.
You will fail in this game.
Oh,
like it's a game. This is the only game that is built around failure. Think about it. Name me another sport where if you fail 70% of the time, you're going to go to the Hall of Fame.
I really don't know any. Let's
go through the list right here. Football. If you're a 30% completion rate, are you in the Hall of Fame?
Nope, you're getting cut.
How about a kicker? Make 30% of your field goals.
You're probably not making the team.
Golfer, you make 30% of your putts, hit 30% of fairways. You're not on the PGA Tour anymore. Basketball player.
I can't golf to save my life, so that's
30% from the field, free throw line, 3-point line.
You're not making it.
Nope. Hockey, goalie, you save 30% of your goal shots.
Nope, you're not.
There's not another sport. Softball. I'll say softball.
That falls.
You can fail 70% of the time and be really, really good.
So nowadays I play men's slow pitch softball, and
how's that?
I like it. I mean, it gives me something to do.
Yeah, I played in one game up in Flagstaff. We have a cabin up there. Paul's got a cabin up there, and some of the kids around there were like, "Hey, come out and play in our softball league." Right? All right, go out and play. So Paul and I both went deep, even though I'm not a hitter. And I was playing second base. By the way, like these guys hit the ball hard, right? Like they hit the ball hard. Like I'm not, I haven't seen something hit at me hard like that in a long time. And I'll tell you what, man, that's fun. That is absolute.
That's what I'm saying.
Fun. It's fun.
There was so in 2018, I moved from here down to South Florida like for the year, and then playing down there for softball, because you get like all like the guys like from the Dominican, Puerto Rico, Cuba. I mean, they play phenomenal ball. So but there's this one tournament that I like for sure like will always remember. So a week before this tournament, Hanley Ramirez is playing for the Red Sox, and then he got released. Okay. And then I was playing third base. and all of a sudden this big dude like walks up, and I'm just like, that kind of looks like Hanley Ramirez, and I was like, there's no way. And then he has never swung, like he's never seen like a softball pitch ever, and I mean, I'm playing third base. I'm just like, oh shit, just please don't
Please
pull
don't
him.
hit it to me.
Dude, that was, I mean, that was the hardest hit ball I've ever seen in my entire life. And I swear that ball would, I mean, it was like inches like from my head. I would have died. But
You would not,
I mean, like,
you
but
would
then,
not be doing a podcast right now.
oh no, no, I wouldn't be doing anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, but then like, cause I mean, I let it go past me because I couldn't move that fast. And then he walked to first base, and then he got a runner, and then he came over, and then he apologized, and I was like, dude, like, why, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you here?
Yeah, that's funny.
No, but you should play some slow pitch softball.
You know what? I'll tell you what. When Elon Musk figures out how to clone me, so I can actually do
True,
stuff on my own, I'm in, totally in.
It's no, there's, I mean, so nowadays, so like besides being like a full-time dad, so like what else do you enjoy doing right now?
Yeah, so I play a lot of golf now. I'm actually a member of this pretty cool group out here in Phoenix called the Thunderbirds. This is what this hat is, the Thunderbirds.
Nice.
We put on the Phoenix Open.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you have to be 40 years old or younger to get in. So I think I got in when I was like 38. And you're an active member up until you're 45 years old. And you go life. So you don't have an actual job or assignment on course. So what does that mean? Well, you know, obviously everybody knows the 16th hole of the Phoenix Open is like the greatest hole of golf.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a 16th chairman and then 2 assistant chairmen. So they're in charge of running that venue every year. Nice. It changes every year. I've run Cove, which is on 17. We have Bay Club on 17. We have the 18th. And our job is to go out there and try to sell hospitality suites. And we raise, a shit ton of money for the Phoenix area. And
I bet.
We so that's one of my bigger things that I'm doing now is part of that group, and we do Special Olympics Arizona, we do junior golf out here, just a lot of community stuff. And then I'm still working for the Diamondbacks. We've all kind of been furloughed, obviously with COVID. Not a whole lot to do at the stadium right now, but so myself, Willie Bloomquist, another former Mariner.
Yep.
Randy Johnson, former Mariner.
Correct.
Luis Gonzalez, not a former Mariner. We're the 4 like special assistants to the president, Derek Hall.
Nice.
And so we kind of, do some. We'll go visit some of the minor league teams. Do a lot of corporate sponsorship, meet and greets, season ticket holder meet and greets, out in the community type stuff. And just carpooling. I didn't really appreciate the carpool lane until you're in it.
That is true.
And,
that's
you know what? Carpool lanes matter. They really do. They say
do. That's what I'm saying. I mean, unless you accidentally get stuck on, say, up in Seattle on the 405, I couldn't get over, then they told you.
Yeah. You just got to get aggressive, man. I
learned that.
If I have carpool privileges, there's nothing stopping me from getting into that lane.
I learned
that. How many people hate me? You know what? Here we go. I'm not proud of it, but I'm going to get in that carpool lane. I promise you.
See, because down in Florida, there's like if you're not doing like 95, like in the express lane, get out because there's cars flying down there. And that's where I learned how to drive.
I respect that because there's days you need it, and then there's days you just are just on your way.
Yeah, no, because I worked about 45 minutes north of Miami, and I didn't think I was gonna do anything down there, so I bought season tickets to the Marlins because it was I think it paid like $375 for 81 games.
Really?
Super cheap.
Not terrible.
There was like 400 people that would go to the games.
Not terrible.
So then I would fly down the express lane just to get there and just watch the other games. And then just learn how to drive. It gets pretty crazy. I mean, like I couldn't imagine like the traffic down in like the Phoenix area at like 5 o'clock. Like, is that
You know
bad?
what? It's not.
Really?
No, we don't have much traffic. It's getting worse and worse. All the people from California are trying to get out of that state to come
Oh,
over
I
here.
guess that is
But
true.
other than that, it's really not that. I mean, I think Phoenix, when they first started, they didn't really build their expressways expecting the boom that it got,
Mhm.
but they've done a good job. There's not terrible. I mean, rush hour is not awful here. It's not. It's definitely not like Seattle.
Seattle.
Seattle, LA, like those are some of the worst.
When when was last time that you were up here in Seattle?
I did. So the other thing I do some radio broadcasts when
Mm.
the full time guys are out. So I did the D-backs Mariners series when the last time the D-backs were there.
Oh, nice.
I want to say that was probably 2017, maybe somewhere around there. 2017, 2016. Yeah, somewhere around there. That's the last time I've been up there.
Hmm. It gets worse and worse every year. So you.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people know what they're getting into when they move to certain cities. Like people that move to LA and complain about the traffic, I'm like,
Idiots.
like, did you not like realize there's traffic in LA all the freaking time? My wife's from Orange County, so like every time we go over there, I'm like, you're driving. I can't drive there. Like I feel like I would get shot in a second driving in LA traffic. I don't have the patience for it. I'm from a town that like, there's no traffic in my hometown.
Yep.
Like I can't do LA traffic.
Yeah, no, there is no traffic here either. It's I mean, it's just longer drives because
Yeah.
everything's further apart, but it's nice and easy.
Yeah, I'll take it. I hate traffic. I hate it.
How did you get into doing the broadcasting?
Kind of just like,
It was just like, hey, like,
yeah, so it started like, so the first year, so I retired in 2014. 2015 season was the first year that I was a special assistant.
Mhm.
And usually Gonzo does some spring training games.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, I don't know, he had something going on. So they're like, hey, can you do you mind filling in on the broadcast for the,
Yeah.
it's, and when I say broadcast, this was like the computer broadcast. So like there's like 7 people listening. I'm like, yeah, that's easy. Nobody's listening anyway. So I did it with Mike Farron. Or no, I think my first one was actually with Greg Schulte. And I was like, yeah, you know what? This is kind of fun. All I do is like talk about the game and
Yeah.
tell stories. And spring training is great because after the third inning, like you don't know who any of these guys are. You're looking at like high numbers and
That's true.
tell stories about what it was like when you were the high number. And it just kind of went from there. And then, I mean, I guess they must have liked a couple of things I said because they were like, yeah, during the season, like if we need you to fill in for the radio, would you do it? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do the radio, whatever. So the best is like the couple trips I would always ask for, and it always worked out, was nobody wants to do, and this is no offense to these cities. I want to be fully clear about this. Nobody wants the Cincinnati, Milwaukee road trip.
Oh, yes, no.
You know who wants that trip? Me. You know what's in Milwaukee? Whistling Straits. Bunch of golf courses. So,
And you're
I'm
from
like, you know
Michigan, so it's close too.
yeah, but I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do Milwaukee. I don't have to be, as a radio broadcast, you don't have to be at the field till like 5:30. So I'll get like a 9 o'clock tee time at Whistling Straits. Never played it. Go out there, get my ass handed to me by a PGA course, and come back and talk about it. It's something else to talk about.
Yeah.
So played it the 1 year. I'm like, that was great. And then they're like, hey, do you want to do Cincinnati, Milwaukee again? I'm like, absolutely. So I actually had a couple pals fly in to Milwaukee, and we just made a golf trip out of it.
See, it's I mean, like, so my grandma, so she was like a diehard Cubs fan. So that's why I have the W flag and all that stuff.
Respect.
So, but then me growing up in Washington State, so that's the Seattle thing.
Yeah.
Then like, I can say that I wouldn't want to go to Milwaukee, so I don't like the Brewers, just because that part. But I've never been to Milwaukee, so I think I would go.
I'll tell you this: Milwaukee's like it's a very well. I mean,
I like to drink, so that's.
It's a very sleepy town.
Okay.
and I would also say it's a sneaky town. The hotel there's haunted. It is. Totally. There's you can look it up.
So you have first-hand experience with that?
It's haunted. I've heard a toilet flush in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I guarantee you, I cannot pee flush and guy in bed this fast. They got a great steakhouse there, and they got some of the best golf courses in the country there. And so the Cubs connection, one of my best pals out here, I met him, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, Larry Dahlman. Undercover narcotic cop, retired now.
Mm-hmm.
Huge Cubs fan. Huge Cubs fan. Cubs win the World Series. It's one of the toughest guys you'll ever meet. Cries.
Hey,
the World Series.
I can say I'm the same boat as him. I mean,
yeah, and you know,
I have a Cubs tattoo on my side. It's just
So what does a good friend do? You buy him a case of Titleist golf balls with the Cubs logo on it.
Yep.
And so, you know, he's like, I'm never hitting these balls. I'm only going to putt with them. So one of our Larry and mine's good buddies, Matt Thornton, big left-handed reliever, played for the Mariners, played for the White Sox for a long time. Not a big Cubs fan. He's a Sox guy, obviously. So anytime he could get his hands on one of Larry's balls when he was putting with these Cubs balls, it would end up in the lake. But I think Larry is down to like one or two of these Cub balls left. And I said, Larry, just stop bringing these balls. Like, you got to save at least one.
Yeah.
Because I put the year on it and everything. I did it right for him. Good guy.
So it's
but yeah. So I listen. Growing up a Lions fan, I understand the pain of Cubs fan. I do. Yes. I really do. Yeah, it's good.
We're say I'm headed to Chicago at the end of this month for nice. For my birthday weekend.
Very nice.
That'll be hopefully a good trip.
Text me where you're at. I'll buy you a beer at that bar.
Okay.
Please do. I'm gonna call it up and I'm gonna say, listen, there's one guy. Tell him to take his shirt off. He's got a Cubs tattoo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you find that guy, I'll buy him a beer.
Deal. I'm down for that.
I'm dead serious. Text me.
I will.
Please do.
It's okay. Talking about golf balls and lakes. Have you ever hit a fungo metal bat with a golf ball?
I have not.
Dude, those go 500 plus feet.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So I should put one of those in my bag?
I would.
Okay.
I think actually my softball bag, I have a few golf balls.
Nice.
Just in case.
Just in case you need them.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know when you're going to need them.
So you got to do that. You got to have you and Paul hit.
Yeah. It's fun. I would love to see that.
500 plus?
That would be sick.
Probably 6, yeah.
All right.
So there's so I have one more thing before we kind of like wrap it up a little bit.
My girl's got to go to bed pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah, time. Playing the mom dad here right now with the wife out of town. This is like every man's nightmare. Every man's nightmare. Like, you don't realize how much you depend on the missus until they're not here.
Hey, that's valid. I mean, I grew up with so it was just me and then a single mom, and she played both roles all the time.
That's incredible.
Absolute ass.
You know what? Hey, cheers to single moms, because those guys, they're rock stars.
That's what I'm saying.
They're rock stars, because I feel like a single dad for the next 3 days, and I don't know how I'm going to get through it. And this is for 3 days. I don't know how I'm going to get through it.
So this might actually be one of your answers to this question. So I went through your I was on Twitter, and then I went to your page, and then it said America's Got Talent follows you.
Yeah.
So you must have some hidden talents.
No. So this is a good story. My daughter's going to kill me when I tell you the story. So one of my twin girls, this was probably 2 or 3 years ago. She wanted to do lip sync, or no, not lip sync. What's the one where ventriloquism? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So as parents, you always want to encourage your kids to follow their dreams.
Always.
So we did, and we bought her 2 puppets. like legit puppets.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to be on AGT. I'm like, all right, cool. And she was like reading books and watching videos, and she actually got to be pretty good. So I actually took her and a friend to the AGT finals one year, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing going out there. So I just tweeted at them, tweet like, "Hey, we're coming. Excited to see the show. I have no idea what I'm doing." And they actually like sent me like a private message of like, "This is what you got to do. It's not that hard. You're a big boy. Pull your pants up. Like you can do it, Dad." So we actually went to it was
Damn.
one of the coolest things I've ever been to.
Oh, I bet.
It was and it was the one where the magician guy, the card guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Asian guy. He was freaking like, I'm freaking right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is impossible. This is not possible. And so everybody that thinks like, oh yeah, it's TV, bullshit. That dude is freaking legit. It is mind blowing.
That's
mind
wild.
blowing. It was. What was that guy's name? Look up like 2017 or 2018 AGT winner.
I can do that. Oh, wait, like so he like won the whole thing.
He won the whole thing.
America's Got Talent, real quick.
You're way better on a computer than I am.
Oh, I grew up around this. I'm considered a millennial, so we're
yeah. This is your jam, not mine.
See, I think America's Got Talent winners.
Like when I learned to text, we had like, if you wanted to hit the letter C, you had to hit the number three times.
Yep. Yeah.
That shows your age right there.
Yes. Let's see. Let's say my mom had to get me a phone when I was 8 years old, just so I could text her and say, "Hey, I'm getting a ride home."
Yeah.
Just so I'm safe. Let's see. 20. You said 2018?
2018, maybe?
2018. There's so many different things on here. Holy shit. I'm on it.
Shin Lim. Shin Lim was his name.
Shin Lim. So
Shin
that
Lim.
would be 20. Yep, that'd be 2018.
Season 13, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you this, dude.
I'm definitely going to watch those after this.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, these magicians.
Hey, that is the craziest stuff.
Like, oh, they divert you. I was like everybody else. I'm like, bullshit. I'm gonna watch this guy. I'm gonna be a hawk.
Yep.
And I was like, bullshit. How did this just happen?
Even if I would say, because we had a transfer kid during college ball, like that was from Japan, and then there was a Japanese kid like that did magic, and I mean like
insane.
He would tell us to record him and say, try and figure it out.
Figure it out. It's insane.
And we could not do it.
These guys are unbelievable.
I think if
this guy, the thing about this guy that was so good, like obviously like the magic and like the sleight of hand and the diversions. This guy was an entertainer. Like,
yeah.
You know what, the best, like this was my daughter's favorite thing about him. He had this like stupid like little like lean in with like the eyebrow, like, you know, like I'm kind of the shit. Yeah. She was just like, oh, I love this guy. I'm like, yeah. So we did the whole Hollywood. We flew in. We didn't even stay the night. We literally took a morning flight. Her and her best pal Bailey. We took a flight early, landed, did lunch. I mean, honestly, I don't even know where we were. But we were kind of by the studio, and we're walking around, and you see like one of the other acts that like the big like tumbling, like throwing people all over the place, like they're all walking around. She's like, oh my god, go say hi. She's like, I can't. Yeah, one chance, she blew it.
That I would say, so like on that, like I have learned that people, I would say like even like professional baseball players, and say like over a year ago, I would get nervous like talking to people. I mean, like who have been on the big stage, but you know what? You guys are normal people that have had badass jobs.
Listen, dude.
Yeah. See, that's
Like, I grew up in like a small ass town.
yeah.
I got one more story about my
Yeah. Go
hometown,
ahead.
but you'll love this one. So I grew up in a small town. I was blessed with a good arm. I
Yeah.
love people. I love meeting people. I love talking to people. Like 99.9% of those, anybody like in that, they love talking. They just
Yeah.
love,
Exactly.
they want to know about your story. Like, where are you from? Like, stories are awesome, no matter who you are,
That
stories are everything.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
the last year I played, 2014, at that time, and when I tell you, like, I'm gonna look it up real quick, just because I don't want to mislead anybody here. Population of Trenton, Michigan.
Let's see.
So our population is 18,000 people in our town, right? Small town. In 2014, there were 4 kids pitching in the big leagues,
Oh no shit.
Trenton High School.
Damn.
Chew on that.
That's let's see. We have
So it was me,
damn.
Anthony Bass, and Matt Shoemaker.
Oh no way.
3 kids from Trenton, Michigan, pitching in the big leagues at the same time.
That's
How about that?
insane.
How about that? And there's another one coming.
Damn.
There's another pitcher coming.
We have see we got one kid right now. He plays for Vanderbilt. He started at shortstop as a freshman. Carter Young.
Oh yeah.
See, he came from, let's see, yeah, because we went to the same high school. Let's see, our population as of 2010 census, 7,100.
All right, so you're smaller than me.
Yeah,
71. Yeah. So I guess our ratio is still better,
yeah, correct. Yeah,
right? And then I'm gonna tell you this: there's another
that's
kid coming.
crazy.
There's a kid who's a senior at Trenton High School right now. His name's Micah Ottenbright. He's going to Michigan State, which makes me want to puke a little bit because I'm a Michigan guy. But went to high school with his dad and his mom. Great people. This kid's legit. He'll probably get drafted.
Yeah,
He's gonna have a tough choice: school, draft, whatever. Can't go wrong either way. I would always say go to school. That's the one thing they could never take from you is your education.
correct.
But there could be another pipeline pitcher coming from Trenton, Michigan. Something in the water there, bro.
Dude, it's not in the Flint, Michigan water. It's in the Trenton.
That's right. It's not definitely not in Flint.
Ugh. Damn.